Unveiling the Son of Man. Biblical Mysteries and Messianic Prophecies. Welcome back to another episode of Jesus is Messiah, the podcast where Scripture's ancient voices meet today's deepest questions. If you like this content, please share, like, and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. In this episode, we're pulling together some powerful threads: the Son of Man in Daniel 7, the pierced Messiah of Zechariah, and how the New Testament holds to one God while revealing the Son's divine identity. Let's dive in. Let's start with Daniel's vision. Daniel 7:13-14 shows one like a son of man coming with the clouds of heaven, approaching the Ancient of Days, and being given dominion, glory, and a kingdom so that all peoples, nations, and languages serve him. This is the climactic reversal of beastly empires. A truly human-like ruler receives everlasting rule from God's court, so that the world's service is redirected under heaven's verdict. In Aramaic, the key term for that global service is pelach, worship, a word used in Daniel for religious devotion service given to deity or idols, conceived as divine, not ordinary political homage. The scene spotlights a singular agent who is exalted and universally served in the presence of God. Now some ask whether Son of Man in this chapter might symbolize Israel collectively, since Daniel later says the saints receive the kingdom. Here's the important clarification. The vision shows one figure, one like a son of man, being presented and receiving dominion, while the interpretation affirms that the saints share in that reign. The pelach, worship, however, is directed to the singular Son of Man. In Daniel's Aramaic sections, pelach consistently functions in worship/cultic service contexts. Compare Daniel 3 and 6, which is not language for Israel being worshipped as a people. This preserves representative headship without collapsing the figure into a mere symbol of the nation. It also avoids the theological problem that Israel cannot be the recipient of worship, whereas this exalted cloud-riding figure legitimately receives universal worship. This coheres with how Christians identify the Son of Man with Jesus, the exalted Lord. This flows naturally into the pierced Messiah hope. Zechariah 12:10 has the Lord say, "They will look on me, the one they have pierced," a prophecy the New Testament applies to Jesus' crucifixion and his future revelation, tying together the themes of suffering and universal recognition. Revelation 1:7 echoes Zechariah, while alluding to cloud-coming imagery, linking the pierced one and the enthroned Son of Man. The pierced, mourned, and finally acknowledged Lord of Zechariah is the same Jesus the New Testament proclaims as the risen, returning Son of Man. With that foundation, consider how the New Testament keeps monotheism intact while revealing the Son within the divine identity. The Shema declares, "The Lord our God, the Lord is one." Paul echoes this in 1 Corinthians 8:6, yet reconfigures the Shema Christologically: one God the Father and one Lord Jesus Christ, placing Jesus alongside the Father within Israel's confession of the one God. This isn't adding another God, it's the early Christian pattern often called Christological monotheism, where Jesus is included in the unique divine identity confessed by Israel. That's why the Gospels show the Son of Man exercising divine prerogatives and receiving worship without violating the oneness of God. The Danielic profile, cloud rider, throne room presentation, universal service, maps onto Jesus' exaltation, while Zechariah's pierced Lord maps onto his cross and future unveiling. The point isn't that God ceases to be one, but that God reveals personally as Father and Son, and elsewhere the Spirit, acting decisively in history through the incarnate Son. Pulling it together, Daniel's vision presents a singular, human-like ruler receiving everlasting dominion and the world's service. The term pelach, worship, and the courtroom scene point beyond a mere national symbol to an exalted agent who embodies and secures the kingdom for the saints. Zechariah promises that Israel will look upon the pierced Lord, a line the New Testament anchors in the crucified and risen Jesus. And Paul's revoicing of the Shema around the Father and the Lord Jesus shows how the earliest Christians confessed one God while worshipping the Son of Man who reigns forever. Thanks for listening to this episode of Jesus is Messiah. If this episode helped connect some dots, please like this content and share it with a friend.